Okaeri, welcome back to my channel, May Between the Pages. My name is Taylor, and today we're doing the third installment in my Booktube Bartender series. Now, it's been a really long time since I've made one of these, so I think it's probably best if I give you kind of an overview of what this is. So one of my hobbies is mixology. It's something that I really enjoy doing in my free time. It's something that I'm always trying to improve at. So I decided that I would pretend to play bartender to some of my favorite book characters. Basically, I pick a drink that I think matches the characters that I've chosen, and then I will make that drink and tell you how to make that drink at the same time. Just a disclaimer before I get started, I am not a professional bartender. I have never been one. This is just a hobby that I like to do in my free time. So, take everything I say with a grain of salt, but if you are of drinking age, feel free to join me to try some of these that I mention, and let me know what you think. I was going to do a Christmas version of this, but I realized that I don't have a Santa hat, which is basically a crime. So I tried to be as Christmassy as possible for this episode. So I don't know, I think I did pretty good. Today's episode is super exciting because we're going to be doing all of the main characters from the Stormlight archive, The Way of Kings. We're going to be focusing on characters who are in the first book because I don't want any types of spoilers for any characters that come up, which ones don't, things like that. So we're just going to be focusing on main characters from the first book, and I've chosen 6 to highlight today. The first one is going to be arguably the main character for the first book in the Stormlight archive, and that is Kaladin. Kaladin Stormblessed. Kaladin is a fan favorite, he's a Booktube baby, and he's just this adorable little cinnamon roll that wants to love and be loved. And so for him, I decided to do a very, very simple cocktail. We're going to be doing a ginger shandy for Kaladin, and it's essentially just a lager or a lighter beer mixed with a ginger beer if you can get your hands on it, or not, a spicier, kind of stronger tasting ginger ale. Now, ginger beer in Japan is ridiculously expensive and hard to find. So I myself have this premier, stronger ginger ale. It's quite spicy. And then I have this beer that Hayato and I, my husband and I, are trying out for our restaurant to see if we like it. So I've never had this beer before. So I have no idea how this is gonna taste mixed with things, but this is going to be a nice little experiment. But if you have a favorite lager or favorite lighter beer, you can certainly use that for this cocktail. The recipe calls for 8 ounces of beer. I'm just going to eyeball it. I would go with, 2/3 beer, 1/3 ginger soda. Not that complicated, really. Which is just like Kaladin, He just wants, a simple life, to be with those he loves, and cracking a beer with his friends. And I think that's why this drink really matches for him. I don't never pour beers with it flat like that. Don't do that at home, kids. You're always supposed to tilt it. I don't know why I did that. Always tilt it to the side. I'm also just gonna try this beer to see if I like it. Oh, that is delightful. There are so many fruit flavors in that.
Did you try that without me?
Yeah. Mysterious hand. Also, I am bold to be wearing a lipstick like this and thinking that's not going to get messed up at the end of this video. Yeah.
What?
Disho. Okay, so now what we're going to do is add this ginger ale to it. Top it off. So I wanted to just do basically a beer for Kaladin because I think that's what matches, right? Cracking a cold one, like I said, with his friends. But then it wouldn't be a cocktail, so that's why I went with a ginger shandy for him. It's got a little bit of spice to him, maybe a little bit, so that's why we put some ginger ale. I just love ginger, so let's see how this goes. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah, that's refreshing. That's nice. I would recommend a white beer with this cocktail. That's very yummy. So this is the simplest one we're gonna make today. No ice required. You just take 2 ingredients and mix them together. And honestly, I feel like that's kind of what Kaladin is like, right? So obviously he deals with, you know, depression and other mental health issues, but he's simple at his core in what he wants and what he desires. So I could just see him relaxing with his friends. Well, he doesn't relax often, but being forced to relax by maybe Adolin. So that is our ginger shandy for Kaladin. Now, our next character is Shallan. Now, Shallan is a hot mess. I love her so much, but I know some people find her annoying. She's got a lot going on. She's got a lot of personalities going on, and she just kind of doesn't know who she is. And so for her, I have chosen a Long Island iced tea. Now, this drink is a miracle that it actually works when you put it together, because it's just every type of alcohol thrown in a glass with some cola and some lemon juice and calling it a day. And I don't think this drink really knows what it is either. So I think that it would really match with Shallan, because somehow she makes it work and somehow this drink makes it work. So for this one, you're gonna need vodka, a white rum, gin, and tequila, which I believe is over there, as well as my triple sec. You're also gonna need triple sec for this. Okay, so we've got our triple sec and our tequila. Now, I had frozen a Kholin glass, which is this shaped glass. So it's nice and frosty on the outside. It's a glass that I picked up secondhand, so let's hope it's quality enough it's not gonna shatter on me. So, for this drink, since it's just basically cobbled together, you're not gonna need a shaker or anything with this. You're just gonna fill a Kholin glass with ice. And then you're just gonna do a 3/4 of an ounce measurement of everything. So let's get started. I'm not much of a vodka person, so this is not open. So let me open this real quick. I prepared real well for this, you guys can tell. We're gonna do 3/4 of an ounce of vodka. 3/4 of an ounce of white rum. I'm not gonna be drinking all of this because I'm not trying to die tonight. That's another thing about the Long Island. You don't order this when you're trying to hang out at home, you know, and just chill. I feel like Shallan is never chill, you know, so that really matches her as well. Got 3/4 of an ounce of gin. 3/4 of an ounce of tequila. This drink is bonkers. 3/4 of an ounce of triple sec. Wow, I haven't used this in a while. The top doesn't want to open. I don't use triple sec so often. 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup. So this is a 2-to-1 simple syrup, which means I put twice the amount of sugar that I did water when I made this. So I'm gonna put less than it calls for because this is quite thick and quite sweet. Then 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. This is fresh squeezed lemon juice that I made. Honestly, if you're gonna be making cocktails, I'm gonna fix my necklaces there. If you're gonna be making cocktails, fresh squeezed citrus really makes a huge difference. So I know it kind of sucks to squeeze, you know, citrus right before you make cocktails every time, but it tastes so different. So I highly recommend you take the effort, you put the effort in to do that. So this is my lemon juice, 3/4 of an ounce. And then finally, you top it off with cola. So let's go ahead and top this off. I'm gonna go get a straw real quick to stir that up. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so we're just gonna stir this. And garnish it with a lemon wedge. I think we'll go with, let's go with the full one. No, let's go with the half one. There we go. So that is our Long Island iced tea for Shallan. All right, let's give it a shot. Oh yeah, that's dangerous. That shouldn't go down that smooth. The tequila taste is stronger than I remember the last time I've had one of these. Maybe I overpoured the tequila a little bit, but man, that is, you saw how much alcohol went in there. That is dangerous. But I don't think anything else, you know, personifies Shallan so well, you know, as this drink. It's a mess. It doesn't know what it is. And so is Shallan, and I love her for it. Now our next character is just a delight, and that is Adolin. If I call Kaladin like a cinnamon roll or a sweet little, you know, cinnabon, Adolin is that times 10. He is just such a wonderful, like pure-hearted person who just wants his friends to do well, and he's just the life of the party wherever he goes, you know. He's the sunshine that cheers Kaladin up, and he's the grounding force that keeps Shallan from going off the rails, you know. He's just the one who brings the sunshine. So for that reason, I wanted to make Adolin a margarita. Who doesn't love margaritas? You know, they just, as soon as you see one, they make you happy, they bring the party to life. Who doesn't love margaritas, you know? Who doesn't love Adolin? I'm gonna be making a very basic, like traditional style margarita with tequila, lime juice, and dry curacao. Now, I don't have curacao with me, but I do have, I can never pronounce this, Cointreau. This, okay, I'm sure you've seen this around in liquor stores, you know. I don't pretend to be fancy and know how to pronounce liqueur names, but yes, this is everywhere. And basically, this is just an orange-based liqueur, kind of like triple sec is as well, and curacao is as well. So as long as it has like an orange base to it, you should be fine. Now this one is a shaken drink, so we're gonna put this into my shaker. So we're gonna start with 2 ounces of tequila, if I can find the tequila. That was a pretty sound. Share me a tissue cup. Whew, that is strong. Tequila smell.
Why don't you? Ooh.
Then we're gonna do 1 ounce of lime juice. Fresh squeezed lime juice. And finally 1 ounce of the Cointreau. Cointreau. Then you're gonna fill your shaker with ice. Make sure that seal is nice and tight. You don't want it going everywhere. And you're gonna shake it up. Okay, so I'm gonna put it in this coupe glass. Now this is, again, a secondhand glass, so it's a bit smaller than your standard coupe, so I might not be able to fit the whole drink in here. Oh, I think it's gonna go right to the rim. A little bit left in there, but it is what it is. Now let's go ahead and garnish this with a lime wedge, as all margaritas should have. Dun-dun! Now if that doesn't just embody a summer's day, a party starting, and Adolin. Let's see how it tastes. Ah. I don't even like tequila. I'm not a tequila person. The only way that I can drink tequila, like I said before that the tequila was a bit strong in the Long Island iced tea, not a fan of that. The only way I can drink it and actually enjoy it is a good margarita. And that is a good margarita, if I do say so myself. Now our 4th character is going to be one of my favorites, and that is Dalinar. Dalinar Kholin. Now he is a very complicated character. He has a long past. He's done a lot of things that he's not proud of, but you see in this first book, in The Way of Kings, he's trying to, you know, turn a new leaf. Is that the phrase? He's trying to start a new phase of his life. So what I thought I would do for him is a twist on a classic. So the classic we're gonna be twisting is the whiskey sour. Now I think, yeah, I did. I made this in my previous video, my previous Booktube Bartender video, where I made drinks for the Six of Crows characters, for the crew. A sour is a family of cocktails that's very traditional, very classic, that has a base spirit, a citrus, and some sugar. And so whiskey sour is whiskey, simple syrup, and lemon juice, fresh lemon juice. A lot of people do top their whiskey sours with an egg white as well, and that's the way I also really like to enjoy them. But because Dalinar is kind of a little more complicated, he's not just classic, we're going to be making a New York sour, which is the same thing, a whiskey sour that has a float of red wine on top. I'm actually a huge fan of New York sours. I think they're delicious and they also look really pretty. So let's get started. I have a frozen frosted glass for this one as well. So for this one, we're gonna just do a very standard basic whiskey base with a Buffalo Trace. This is a good bourbon, a very good bourbon, but I like to use it in cocktails because it doesn't have that's a nice pop. Yeah, it has a really standard bourbon smell to it. It doesn't have anything super interesting for when I'm drinking something on the rocks, but it works so well in cocktails. I did mention the frosted glass, but this is a shaken cocktail, okay? So don't put it directly in the glass. We're gonna start with a 2-ounce pour. Ooh, that was pretty. A 2-ounce pour of bourbon. One ounce of lemon juice. And about 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup. Put some ice in your shaker. And shake it up. I actually just got a new size Hawthorne strainer. So this is a cobbler shaker, which has a strainer built into it, which works, it definitely works. But I finally got a Hawthorne strainer that matches the size of my shaker, so I really want to give it a shot. Well, that's a nice pour. Looking beautiful. Okay, so this is your standard whiskey sour here. And then you can top it with an egg white, but like I said, we're gonna be doing a New York sour. So this is where we float some red wine. Now for the red wine, it doesn't seem to have a specific type that you need to use, but sweeter is better. Hey, big strong husband. Can you open this? Now that you've got your wine open, you're going to want to float it on top of the whiskey sour. Now when you're floating something, you're gonna wanna pour it over the back of a spoon or something. This is just a classic normal bar spoon, in order to spread out, the space, what's the word I'm looking for, the surface area that the thing you're floating goes onto so that it doesn't sink to the bottom. Now this glass I think is a little too big for it because now what you really want is for the float and the whole thing to come up to the rim of the glass. That's when it looks really, really beautiful. But we do have our float here as well as a goddamn mess of the wine. So here is our New York sour. You can see the gradient going on there with the wine floating and sitting on top, going down into the whiskey sour part. So let's take a sip and see how we did. Oh, that is lovely. I just love whiskey sours. And then with the wine on top, oh, I'm such a fan of this. So I could definitely see Dalinar ordering this. He loves his wine, as we know. Those of us who've read the series knows, or he did love his wine. And I just think that, a twist on the classic just really embodies him as a character. All right, we've got 2 more characters to go. The next one is Jasnah. Now, Jasnah takes no shit. She tells you exactly what she thinks whenever she thinks it. And she's also someone who likes to be on the ball all the time, to be alert, to be at the top of her game 24/7. She's never caught slipping. So for her, I've decided to make an Irish coffee. Not only is Irish whiskey smoky and it just announces that it's there, you really can't ignore it. This drink also includes coffee. So I think that that combines the two aspects that I just talked about Jasnah really well. Like, she'll imbibe a little bit, but she's also gonna need it to benefit her in some way. So the caffeine in the coffee, waking her up and getting her ready for a full night of studying and doing work, I think matches her perfectly. Now, I did pre-brew, pre-make my coffee, so it is lukewarm at best right now. But if you want like the best Irish coffee, then you should do it while the coffee is fresh and piping hot. Now you're gonna want about 3.5 ounces or 105 milliliters of coffee, and then you're gonna put your Irish whiskey into that, about 1 ounce of Irish whiskey. Now I don't have Irish whiskey. It is not my favorite, so I don't really tend to have a bottle of it on my bar unless I'm specifically making a cocktail, you know, with that or want to practice with it. But I do have, okay heater. But I do have Monkey Shoulder, which is a Scotch whiskey. So it's got that smokiness to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and substitute this. So we're gonna need 1 ounce of this. And then depending on how sweet you like your coffee, you're gonna want, you know, 3/4 an ounce, 0.75 to, you know, half an ounce of simple syrup. Now, honestly, this last part, I'm not sure if Jasnah would do it because it's kind of like extra. Well, she's a bit extra, so maybe she would. But what you're gonna do is top this whole thing with whipped cream and some nutmeg. This is another super positive aspect if your coffee is hot, because then this will slowly melt into it and it's gonna be just wonderful. Let me give this a little stir real quick. And then I have some cinnamon and nutmeg I'm gonna put on top. Some cinnamon. Okay. And this here is our Irish coffee for Jasnah. It looks delicious, so let's see if it tastes as good as it looks. Oh. I'm gonna make all of my Irish whiskeys with Monkey Shoulder from here on out because that blends so well with the coffee. Oh my god, that is dangerous. I wish that was hot, but besides that, that flavor is on point, fantastic. Would highly recommend this. I don't know, can't you just see Jasnah like exhausted with people trying to convert her to their religion, and she just wakes up in the morning and she's like, I just need a little extra something in my coffee because I can't deal with these people today. Like, can't you see her doing that? So yeah, I think this was a really good choice for her. Delicious. Yes. Now this last character is one that I just love from the depths of my heart, and that is Navani. Wherever Navani goes, or whatever she decides to do, she brings a fresh perspective. She's always coming up with fresh ideas, whether it's in politics or in her research, and she always encourages those thoughts in others. And so I wanted to kind of, you know, personify that aspect of her in this drink. So I've decided to make Navani a mojito. There is nothing more refreshing than a mojito, so let's get started. So here I have my third chilled glass. This is Kholin's glass again. And a mojito is a drink you're going to build in the glass. It is not shaken. So we're gonna start by putting about a half an ounce of simple syrup. Next, you're gonna need an ounce of fresh lime juice. For this drink particularly, like I said before, fresh is best, but really, really for this drink, you need fresh citrus for this. Then you're gonna put 2 ounces of white rum. Now here's the best part in my opinion, which is the mint. So you're gonna wanna put as much mint as you like, but I like my mojitos really minty, so I'm gonna put like a shit ton in there. But if you put like 10 leaves, that should be enough. And then we're gonna muddle all of this together in the bottom of the glass. Now when you're muddling, you don't want to squish too hard. You don't want to bruise the mint because that won't release like a bitter flavor. You just want to kind of push it gently at the bottom so that those oils come out and it gives it that fresh fresh smell to it. Like Navani. I think there's also comments in the book that she smells really, really good. So it's so perfect for her, truly. Once your drink is sufficiently muddled and pressed, you're going to add your ice. Now, for a mojito, you can use normal ice, but I highly, highly recommend using crushed ice. Not only does it look more beautiful, but it will keep your lemon, or not lemon, that's not the right word, it'll keep your mint from rising to the top of your drink. It'll like catch it in the ice. So I highly recommend, if you can, to use crushed ice. Now, I just took normal ice, put it in a plastic bag and smashed it. So, you know, it doesn't have to be bought crushed. You can make it crushed pretty easily. And then you're gonna top it with seltzer. Now this is quite a small Kholin glass, so I don't have much space for the seltzer, unfortunately. Before we put this in, actually, I'm also going to pull some of the mint leaves up through the ice to get that pretty look that mojitos can have. There we go. Mix it up a little bit. Pull some of that flavor up to the top. Get some mint in there as well. All right. And then you're gonna top it off. Mine just has a tiny little space for the seltzer. Ideally, you would put more than that. Like I said, this is again a secondhand glass. I get all mine secondhand. So the sizes aren't very standard, and this is quite small. And then what I like to do with my mojitos is you really, when you're drinking something, smell is just as important as taste. So I like to put a little mint sprig on top. If you put it in your hands and you do a little clap on it, it gets the scent going. So I like to stick a little sprig of mint in the top. So I like to put a little sprig of mint on the top here. And then we will go ahead and put, that's not a straw, this is a straw. We're gonna go ahead and put our straw in. And this is our mojito for Navani. Now that is a good looking drink. I mean, can't you just see Navani sitting, you know, outdoors on her balcony somewhere, doing some research, you know, some important research for the future of humanity, and just sipping on one of these? You know, I could just, I can picture it so clearly. So let's give a sip and see how it is. Guys, this is so good. This is so good. The flavors are blended to perfection. The level of sweetness with the mint. This is my favorite drink that I made today, and that's saying something because whiskey sours are usually my favorite of all time. This mojito, yes. Oh my God. All right, let me clear up my board, and then I'm gonna go over the drinks that I made today and the characters one final time. All right, some of these are looking a little rough because I made them in the beginning and they've been sitting. So that's why people serve drinks fresh, right? So just remember what they looked like when I made them at first, all right? First, we have our ginger shandy for Kaladin. Something very simple, something you can just whip up and hang out with your friends, you know, while you're drinking it. You can just hang out with Bridge 4. I don't know, Kaladin just seems like a beer guy to me. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree with that. Next, we have our mess of a drink, the Long Island iced tea for Shallan. We all love Shallan, just like, you know, people who are of drinking age and go out. A lot of people will not stick their nose up at a Long Island iced tea, but you know what you're getting into, you know? And with Shallan, you just have to know what you're getting into with her, you know? She's a little crazy. But, you know, we love her for it. This is a beloved drink for a reason, and Shallan is beloved by readers for the same reason, probably. Next, we have our Margarita for our life of the party, Mr. Adolin. Still looking stunning. Oh man, this glass is too small. You didn't see that drip. I mean, I gotta drink it down, right? So it doesn't spill. Adolin just makes situations better. When he's there, you know, it's gonna be more fun. It's gonna be, you know, more joyful. And that is what a margarita is for a lot of people. I mean, Taco Tuesday with margaritas, come on guys. So yes, I think that this is a perfect drink for Adolin. I will hear your debate on Kaladin being a beer guy, but you're gonna have to fight me if you think that this is the wrong drink for Adolin, because I think that I nailed this one. The fourth drink we made was a New York salad. What even is that? It's like a salad that they yell at you when they give it to you. Like, here's your fucking salad. A New York sour for Dalinar. Still looking pretty. The float is still looking nice on the top of this. If you float things correctly, they'll stay like that for quite some time. So let's take a sip, see if it's holding out. It's just the sourness. You know, there's a reason that the family of sours is such like a traditional style of cocktail, because citrus cancels out the taste of the alcohol, and then if you add the little bit of sour sweetness from the wine together, it's just perfection. I really, really enjoy this drink. And I just feel like it matches Dalinar as well. I could see him sipping on this, you know? A mix of the old with the new. A little bit less new than old, you know? It's kind of fighting to stay afloat above the oldness, you know? The old traditional values. But Dalinar is doing his best, and so is this drink. This fifth one here is the one that is struggling the most aesthetically, I think, and that is the Irish whiskey, or the Irish coffee for Jasnah. So yeah, I think the hot coffee is key for the melting effect, and now it's just kind of floating on top. Doesn't look as good. Still tastes good though, I think. Let me confirm that. Still tastes solid, still tastes awesome, just doesn't look so good. But this is another one that I think perfectly matches Jasnah, because if she's gonna imbibe, it's gonna be no nonsense. I don't know, let me know in the comments down below if you think she would do the whipped cream on top, or if she would skip it and just, you know, do straight coffee and whiskey with a little bit of sugar. I don't know, I feel like she might indulge. She might. And the last drink is this beautiful, refreshing Mojito for Navani. Like I mentioned earlier, I think this just embodies the freshness and the new idea-ness of Navani. She's always striving to do better, always striving to do more, and helping those around her do that as well. And honestly, the Mojito is one of the first drinks that I fell in love with the aesthetic of it, and it inspired me to do better with my mixology bartending skills. So I think that's a personal connection that I made as well. Oh my god, that is perfection. Now, just to close this video out with a disclaimer like I did in the beginning, but if you are of drinking age, drink responsibly. You know, I will not be drinking all of these by myself tonight, okay? But if you can legally drink where you are, go ahead and give one of these a shot. Let me know what you think of them. Also, let me know in the comments down below if you think that I matched the characters correctly, if you think there are some other drinks that would have matched better. I would love to have conversations about that down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell. I really enjoy making this type of unique content, so leaving a like or a comment letting me know that you like, you know, watching this type of content is really helpful for me. And I'd love to have you as part of this community. But for now, I'm gonna head out. Shandy!